KickTalk family, it's been a while. First off, happy holidays to all you watching. I appreciate you. Hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving. Probably have some holiday rush coming up. So thanks for sticking with me and checking out the show. Today on KickTalk, we're going to talk about a very underrated shoe. A shoe that doesn't get enough credit, and that shoe is the Nike Air Flight 89. 89 was a good year, the year I was born. You can do the math, I'm dating myself, I understand. But either way, I'm back like the battery pack on a remote. I know you guys miss me. I was dealing with a little, cold, whatever it is, under the weather. Weather's changing. But either way, let's get into it. Let's talk about the Flight 89 and let's go! The Nike Air Flight 89. I gotta get something off my chest. I'm tired of people calling this the working man's Jordan. The working man's Jordan 4. The poor man's Jordan 4. The takedown of the Jordan 4. Yes, both shoes are similar. They both have the same midsole. They both came out the same year. But these shoes are different. And I do believe that the Jordan 4 fairly gets enough hype, but this 89 doesn't get enough hype. Before we get into it, let me just show you the similarity so you don't think I'm talking too crazy. This right here is the Flight 89. Beautiful shoe. Got the beautiful Nike Air on the back. They got the Flight right here. Oh, look at that. The Jordan 4. Some would call it the rich brother. Very similar. Similar outsole. Actually, if you hold them up together, you probably wouldn't tell the difference unless the color was the same. And, I gotta admit, I didn't love the Jordan 4 growing up. I eventually came around to it. I actually like this shoe more. So if you're a real sneakerhead and you've been down with sneakers, you know about the Flight 89. So let's talk about it. To begin, as you might guess, the shoe debuted in 1989. Now, as I was doing my research, there's actually some mucked up history. So what I found as I've been researching shoes over this past year is that when you have a signature like a Jordan 4, they tell you who the designer was and they give you a lot of the details. When you get to shoes that are more of a general release, more of just the Nike basketball catalog, it's a little different finding the details. But either way, what I know is that the same designer of the Jordan 4, Tinker Hatfield, is responsible, or at least had his hands in creating this shoe. Where the history is a little murky is which shoe came out first. And that's what I think is so interesting about the shoe. Doing my research, I found that the Flight 89 actually came out first, at least to the public. So that's probably why I'm always a little annoyed that people call this the little brother or the poor man's Jordan 4, because this is the OG. This came out first. Now, once again, where the details get murky is Jordan's first shoe came out in 1985, and every year he had another number, right? So from 85, you had the 1, 86, you had the 2, 87, you had the 3, and technically 84, you had the Jordan 4. But the Jordan 4 did not release to the public till May of 1989. So that's why there is that murky idea that this shoe actually came out first. Either way, this shoe was loved by hoopers just as much as the Jordan 4 was in its time. A lot of the players that were in the shoe maybe were not Michael Jordan, but they were close. You had Charles Barkley, Reggie Miller, Gilbert Arenas ended up wearing the retro, and I'll name a few other heads later down the road. But you got to know that this shoe was special for its time because not only was it good looking on the court, but off the court as well. Now, in the early 2000s, they tried to bring the shoe back. Because as I said, this shoe is more on the mid to lower scale of Nike's shoe products. And what I found is that the Jordan 4 would get all this hype. They would, market everything that they could to say, oh, the 4 is coming back, the retro, all these new colors. But when this shoe came out, honestly, this shoe was known to sit on shelves. This is the type of shoe that you would get at a Nike outlet, that you might go to a mall and see it at the clearance rack. And it's always been frustrating to me because I do find the shoes are very similar and these just don't get enough love. I just feel like it's very lopsided. In the early 2000s, the Flight 89 came out with some retros, and this was probably my favorite era of the retro Flight 89 because they came back with a twist. The Flight 89 is known for being all leather, but in the early 2000s they made it patent leather, some patent leather accents. And what also adds to the nostalgia of a OG sneakerhead is that these patent leather versions were coming out exclusively for different stores. So Foot Action is the one I specifically remember. Foot Action Mall that I used to go to, they always had some crazy cool patent leather colors. Champs as well had some crazy patent leather colors. And some other stores that don't come to mind right now. But it was a time if you do love the Flight 89. Do y'all remember shoetrends.com? I know this is super nerdy. I know this is crazy sneakerhead talk. It's going to be a select few who know what I'm talking about. But I used to go to this website all the time, especially when I was in middle school. I couldn't afford to buy every shoe I wanted. I would go on this website and look at all the patent leather Flight 89s. They had all the flavors. I actually am still on the hunt for them. I would love to get a pair of the cool gray. Oh, crispy, so good. Also, the Carolina baby blue would be great in my closet. Or they had an all black patent leather with a white check. Very similar to like Air Force One sheets. Another color that I still look for every now and then, the Air Flight 89s came out with this bread colorway in, I want to say maybe 2012, maybe even more recent than that. Actually, it might be 2017. Either way, same color blocking as this beautiful Jordan 4 bread right here. The Flight 89 is a shoe that I think is going to make a comeback. And actually, we are going into 2024. It will be the 35th year anniversary of the shoe. And what I've noticed by checking out Sneaker News and other footwear sources is that Nike is actually ramping up, coming out with a few different colorways next year for this shoe. So, you know, I do still think because this shoe is the same year as this shoe, they're going to do the 35th year anniversary for the 4. So once again, I wouldn't be surprised if this gets overshadowed. But either way, there's a really big collab that at least they're trying to make big, coming up with Stussy, however you guys pronounce it out there. They are coming out with the Flight 89 collab, and I think that's actually going to bring some more attention to the silhouette. The Flight 89 with Stussy is going to have snakeskin. So it's going to be a really different twist. I'm not really sure how people are going to take it. I love the 89, but I'm not going to go after that shoe. I'm actually hoping that they'll bring back the patent leather again. In the early 2000s, I actually, if you go back to my Nike Blazers video, I talked about that this company called Just for Feet was liquidating. They're going out of business, and they're just trying to sell off all their inventory for cheap. That same day that I got these baby blue Blazers, I also got these Flight 89s. And it was my first memory with the shoe, and it's a funny memory because at that time I was in middle school, and they had this shoe in like a gray and blue, but the shoe was like maybe almost 2 sizes too big for me. Either way, I convinced the folks, please get me the shoe. I think because it was getting liquidated, it was only like 17 bucks. And I'm like, I'll grow into the shoe. I didn't wait to grow into the shoe. I wore that shoe like the next week to school. And I probably wore like 2 socks just to make sure it fit. But I just had that immediate connection with the Flight 89. It really did everything I wanted that a Jordan would do, but it also had the Nike Air on the back. And if you are really into Jordan 4s and Jordans and all of that, this might look familiar. This is the Flight logo. And as I've actually said in a previous episode, the Flight line for basketball shoes was made for the quick guard. So that's why a lot of the players that were associated with wearing the shoe at the time were more of the quicker, agile guards. I know I mentioned a few before, but you also had Scottie Pippen, you had Kevin Johnson, and a couple other people if you're a big basketball head. Flight 89, amazing shoe. If you are intrigued by this video to buy a pair, my only piece of advice is, if you don't know how you fit in a Jordan 4, then just take this for what it is. Most people, me included, wearing Jordan 4s, there's something called the infamous pinky rub. And that's basically, I guess the shoe is a little narrow when you get to where your pinky is. So my recommendation is, don't go small on the shoe. You're either going to go the size you wear, or you're going to go a half a size up. Either one will fit comfortably. I would recommend, if your foot is on the wider side, go half a size up. You can't lose. But Flight 89, amazing shoe. If nobody else likes it, I do. And I know whoever's watching this, somebody out there likes it. So please, can I get an amen? Anyway, this is KickTalk. We're coming to the end of the year. I just did my first full year. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you for sticking in there with me. I promise the frequency is going to pick up next year. I'm going to add some extra content, probably show you how to clean shoes, how I thrift shoes. You know, I'm still coming up with the content. But either way, another KickTalk in the book. I appreciate y'all. You have a good one. I'm going to keep getting better. This shoe's going to keep getting better. And I know you will too. See you later.